Yep.
All right, recording has started, and this is the March 5th, 2024 Rook Community Meeting. So let's go ahead and check on into our milestones, which I don't think we've got anything to report on 1.12 still, right? Nothing there. Keep going.
Nothing burning. I think we're good.
Cool.
No planned
So,
release there.
yep. All right, then let's hop into 1.13 branch then, because we did do a patch release there since the last community meeting. So let's just go over the release notes, see if there's anything major to call out.
Oh, that was almost 2 weeks ago. What was in that release?
Just
So,
under 2 weeks ago.
right. Um, I mean, there's some helpful fixes there. Skipping the crush rule update when not needed. OSD creation with metadata partition. I don't know. I can't think of anything huge to talk there. Just a bunch of good little fixes.
All right. Sounds good then. All right. And then with a typical cadence then on Thursday of this week, I think that would be just a couple days from now, then we'll be doing another 1.13 patch release. So let's go ahead and look at the project board and see what may be blocking. Nothing in the blocking column itself, but
Correct.
a couple things in progress, a couple things that are probably done since the last patch release.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Those ones in the to-do column are nice to haves, but not urgent. So yeah, the first one there, if someone wants to look at it, it's not assigned to anyone yet. In my backlog to look at, but I don't know when I'll get to it either.
All
So yeah,
right.
that's
Yep.
it.
So regular cadence every 2 weeks, patch release on the 1.13 branch is basically what we're looking at.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. No decisions that need to be made or anything that anybody needs to be unblocked before this release can run in a couple days. Then looks like.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
All right. Cool. Great.
Mhm.
Okay. Then 1.14, which is the next major release we've been working on. So I think we settle on these dates last time, Travis?
Yeah, last time we talked about
Yeah,
those
right.
dates.
Okay.
So
So these are pretty solid now.
all right, just around that. I mean, we've got KubeCon in 2 weeks, and then the week after KubeCon, that's the March 28th time. That's that week. We'll create the branch, create the beta release, and then so 4 weeks from now we'll create the release. Is the plan around
Yep.
April 3rd.
Exactly. So let's look at the project board then and see what we've got going on there. 'Cause there's a bunch of stuff going on, lots of development work right now.
Mm-hmm.
And too early to call anything blocking, I suppose, as well. No blocking column or anything yet.
Yeah, I was just looking at it just before this meeting and realized, yeah, I need to create that blocking column and get things in there that we must have for the release. Um, but so far, the blockers would just be, yeah, a couple of the features we're working on and getting support for Squid and upgrade guide and some other typical release things like that. Most of the things in the to-do column aren't really blocking, but like the support for Squid will move to that blocking column. And I need to double check if we have a bunch of features in the roadmap that I'm not sure I feel like there's a couple missing from this board, so I'll check that today. Get that updated. So
There we go.
yeah,
Yeah, I was pulling up the roadmap on
features.
another screen. See if
Yeah,
there's
there we go.
anything, that comes to mind here for very important.
All right, I know a few of those are already done. A few are in progress. Um,
Do you feel like
a
this
few
list is
aren't.
prioritized, Travis? Like top to bottom?
It's not really a priority list, I'd say.
Hmm.
It's maybe more critical features I tried to put at the top of that list, but it's not really necessarily ordered either. Um, I mean, like the supporting Go.122, that's at the bottom of the list just because it's kind of an internal thing. It doesn't really
Yeah, it's
affect
not user facing.
users, right? Try to put the main user facing ones at the top of the list. That's
Yeah.
my, well,
Okay. How about from
Mhm.
others? You want to check in on any roadmap items or features we're trying to deliver for 1.14 from Blaine, Alex, Parth, anybody there, Michael?
So I think,
Nothing at the moment.
am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I was speaking over somebody, I guess, but I could add an item. I'm currently working on a change to enable the admin to enforce host networking on all managed pods by Rook. So that was a feature request that came in as for my liking some sort of a bug report at some point. I started working on that some time ago, but it has taken me different direction, trying to get it finished for master so that we have it when 114 is forked or created from there.
Michael, do you know the issue number off the top of your head for that one too?
I can just look it up and paste it.
Sweet. Yeah.
Do you want it in the meeting notes or in the chat here? What is more
If
convenient?
you could just add the label to it for 1.14 project, or it's not
Yeah,
labeled,
sure.
just there's the projects section, you just add
Yeah,
it.
sure. I do it right now.
Awesome.
Okay.
Then
Then
it'll
it'll pop up.
show up on the board.
I guess
Awesome.
there is a issue like 13571 Ceph version attack job should respect like host network setting.
This one here?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it is marked for 1.14. Maybe someone just added that.
Ah. Cool. Great. Right, so then what we said, like about 4 weeks or so until we cut the release branch and get the beta, get the RC out. So bit of development time left to keep moving these things across the board, but getting into the last third or last quarter or so, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I should email Matt to give him plenty of notice to get us an image for the blog too.
Make sure you send him I don't know, some vitamins or something too, so he stays healthy.
Oh, has he been down with something?
All
Or
right,
you're
just
saying the
just could
curse
happen
of us
again.
asking,
Yeah,
like last time.
Send him some vitamins too.
Right. Yeah, we need to give him some sort of reward for always helping us out.
For sure. Okay, cool. So yeah, anything else to call out on 1.14? Or will we have one more community meeting here before we would, oh, no, actually we probably won't because the next community meeting is right during KubeCon week. So I don't reckon we will have a community meeting before we get to this.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. I had it later in the agenda, but since it's up,
Oh,
should we
that's
just
fine.
cancel next time?
Yeah, I can imagine any majority of folks being able to show up because a lot of folks here on the call will be in Paris, and then you, Travis, will
I'll
not
be
even be
out.
online. Period. You'll be on PTO vacation, so
The idea. So
probably
yeah,
cancel that one.
I'll add a note up there to
Yeah,
cancel.
what is that one? That is the 19th, I think. Oh,
March
you already got it.
19th.
Okay, you got it. Oh, fancy calendar one, huh? Oh, okay.
Why did it turn it into a date?
And you like your British spelling as well?
Did it shorten it to March? MAR? I'm gonna redo it.
Mm-hmm.
March 19. I'm not gonna hit tab this time. That's what turned it into the
No autocomplete or
format.
tab complete. All right. Okay, cool. And then we had a recent release then on the kubectl plugin. So we don't know when we'll be doing the next one, but let's take a look then at the release notes because that was since the last community meeting. So let's take a look and see what got out there. Ooh, good amount of commits
Yes.
there.
Yeah, we've been generating the whole change log, so it's got a few commits. I don't see Subham here comment on it, but let's see, there was the main feature. Where was it? It's returning file system details. There's that one. And internally, I mean, using a dynamic API instead of kubectl, that was a big change, but not really user facing. And some other CI updates, it looks like. But it's not as many updates as the changelog looks like as far as user-facing features.
Cool. Well, the 0.8 release went out smoothly. It's available. Folks can download and install that one then.
Yep.
Great. All right. Well, cool. I think that's everything for milestones then. So let's move on to the community topics section. Travis, you had a couple of items you wanted to get through here about upcoming Ceph releases, starting with that.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of Ceph release discussion recently with the Ceph leadership team. Like, we've got a couple of blocking issues. When can we get hot fixes out? So the 18.2.2 hotfix release is due out the next couple of days. So, Red One has done great testing that fix, and that's basically affecting all the dashboard users using metrics since the 18.2.1 release has been broken. So finally, we're getting that hotfix out, and yeah, Rado, anything else to add for that?
Nothing to add. I'm not sure if we'll have it this week. It will be part of the next patch release. I mean, the worst case would be like into the next one.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see when it's actually signed off. And then the next sequence of events, it looks like, for the Ceph releases will be Squid coming up in April. So we're looking to support Squid with our Rook 1.14. We'll release before Squid, but at least we should be able to start testing it. I don't think I've seen the first beta release for Squid yet, but as soon as that's out, we'll get the upgrade and other CI testing going, and hopefully it's smooth. I've done some local testing with it recently and didn't see any issues. But yeah, that's the plan for Squid. Then after that, let's see. So then Steph will go back and do a hotfix for the Quincy. Right, so that gives us 17.2.8, but I don't think that'll affect Rook at all. It's just one hotfix on top of the .7 release. Then I'll go back and do the 18.2.3 full patch release, so the full relief release, and then go back and do the full Quincy release. And yeah, it's really a challenge how long it's taking to get releases out, and we've definitely been talking with the Ceph leadership team on that. There's no real good solution to that yet, but that's why they're trying to do those quick hot fixes for just a few scoped issues, because the full patch releases take longer.
For the Travis, for the 17.2.8, should we ask them to include the fix for this issue, long-standing issue?
Is that the OSD issue?
Yes. Because as far as I know, they are planning to put this Redos CRC fix, but that's the only one as far as I know. Maybe it's a good opportunity to ask for the fix for this issue as well.
Yeah, you're right, we should, because it's going to be several months until we get the full release out. So yeah, that's a good point. Let's ask for that. We'll go to the leadership meeting tomorrow. I should probably bring that up sooner so I don't miss it. So I think they're starting on that now too. Yep. We haven't had too many users bring that up. That was my only hesitation, but it is blocking for those users. So yeah, the fix has been stable in the Reef branch and the Quincy head for a long time. So let's ask for that. Okay.
Cool. All right, so we know what we would want to be getting out of the upcoming releases of Ceph. So sounds good to follow up on. Thanks, guys. Anything else on Ceph releases that you wanted to bring up, Travis?
That's good.
All right. So update on Copilot, huh?
All right, so a few days ago, got this email from CNCF saying, "Hey, we've granted your org this Copilot business license." Like, oh, really? How does this work? So I went and messed with the configuration. I think I got it figured out and sent invites to all of everybody in the Rook approvers group. And it's apparently charging CNCF $19 a month per license. And I couldn't see any limits for who we add, but I just started with the Rook approvers group for whoever wants to use it.
That's super cool. Do you have a link to, Travis, of like getting started or like how to be efficient or effective with Copilot?
I think the invite email had something like that. I haven't
okay.
really looked at it too much yet, but yeah.
Is it something you yourself are planning on
That's
utilizing heavily? Oh, okay, yeah, that's
oh yeah, if you're not logged in.
Yeah, I'm not
you'll
logged
be
in.
denied
Yeah,
there.
I don't do
So-
that when I share screen.
Yeah, IBM is also telling us not to use Copilot, so I don't know.
Okay.
But for all this upstream stuff, I don't get it. Maybe Blaine, you read those Slack messages more than I did, but we'll see about using it. But it's available, and if others active on the Rook project want it, I feel like, well, let's add people. I didn't see any restrictions. Why not to? So let me know if you're interested, and I can add you to that.
And I like the idea of anytime that and we've seen more, I think we've seen more of this in recent year plus or so than we had in the past, Travis, but I really like anytime the CNCF is, offering opportunities or following through on things that can increase productivity and, success of a project. Like I always like to see that. That's really, really cool. So that's really awesome that they enabled this for the project.
Right. Yeah, so it's nice. We'll just follow up on that if us IBMers can use it for Rook.
Yeah.
Not default answer is no, it sounds like, but we'll see.
Not sure if these restrictions are like mostly because of maintaining the privacy. I mean, like for internal projects, that makes more sense. For external ones, the only issue I can foresee, like with licenses, because at the end it's like code being generated, you don't see where it's coming from.
Yeah, that's actually a discussion that I was just looking at, is even broadly speaking in the upstream world, so not even like in the corporate world. One of the issues with like GitHub Copilot is the code is like copied from somewhere, and I think it's up to the user to determine where it's copied from and what license the source code it's copied from is, to make sure that, if we pull in LGPL code, that actually would change the licensing of Rook potentially a fair bit, I think, because LGPL has it's like a copyleft license, if I remember right. Like it has like anything that includes LGPL or other GPLs like requires also inclusion in a bigger way than the Apache license that Rook uses. So it's not just like, oh yeah, this is like fine. Even in an upstream context, like it actually has some big open questions, and GitHub is like, it's fine, but people legally speaking are like, it's like kind of fine as long as you like also investigate the code that it copy paste. So maybe you should just copy paste the code yourself. Like there are big open questions around like legality. I think it works, but
Yeah.
I guess I also have hesitations based on that.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the responsibility of a developer to make sure that the code being used is not GPL for LGPL, for example, because it's not compatible in our case.
Right.
that's
Yeah,
interesting
exactly.
Interesting if CNCF basically said, here, use all these licenses if you want. That must be in general a good idea upstream. But yeah, what do you do legally? I
yeah,
don't know.
or not sure how it works. Like maybe in the future it would be good, like for example, to specify the license. Like I want only to generate code, or I want to only generate code that is coming from this kind of licenses. So this way you exclude any potential not compatible license like RGPL, for example. So that way, at least the developer will be more secure that he's not infringing any license. But not sure how it works at this moment.
Right.
Yeah, there's going to be some very, very big questions that get answered, and like generally speaking, for open source, for legal questions, all that sort of stuff that goes beyond the CNCF and beyond this upstream project and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out, because it's a hot issue. And there's not a clear, obvious, like, yes, it's this way, or there's things to be figured out there. So yeah, good reminder for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, think critically.
That's probably
Okay.
good for that topic. But yeah.
Yep. Cool. So Alex, you added one to the agenda as well, bud.
Yes. Yeah, I would like to propose that we add a support providers page, kind of as like other names for it. It might be like a enterprise support page from other projects. Besides just the footer section that we have on the website. If you go to rook.io, at the bottom we have a few a few columns, like from getting started, community, contact, top contributors, and support providers. And I personally think it wouldn't hurt if we create a separate page for support providers, just to have that more visible for people that get started and are like, oh yeah, I would like to use it, but I need someone that can help me if something breaks immediately with like paid support contracts or something. And I think if we keep such a page in the spirits of the support providers page, with alphabetical sorting, or maybe even who got there first, so to say, that I think we can maybe go ahead and create such a page on the website.
Right.
I think. Sorry, Travis, you want to go ahead? Yeah, I that sounds reasonable, Alex. Like I was just going to say, like my first thought here was that having this type of content be only available in a footer section is not typically where I would expect to find it. Like typically in a footer section, like, yeah, you're going to get, kind of like a site map-ish sort of thing where it's like, yeah, here's everything you can find and it's in columns here and blah, blah, blah. But it's more like, contact info and, I don't know, things like that, that's not the first place I would look for it either. It's not super discoverable there either. So I'm not against that suggestion personally.
Right. Yeah, when I first saw this at first, it's like, wait, I thought CNCF kind of didn't want to allow its projects to kind of advertise commercial things. But then those links you have, it's like, oh, well, if it's just a link on your website, it kind of makes sense. Like you want to know, it is a common question people have had for Rook, like, where do I get support? How can I ask? So I think it's a great idea to just, so I think we know of 2 products right now to link on the website, right? So there's Core and then our IBM offerings. So
and I would also just say, if we add like a sentence of, if you want to add yourself to the page, open a PR basically. Like if any other companies out there who's like, hey, we offer support for that or help with that, like you can go ahead and do that.
Right.
Could I just chime in with a few cents for that idea with the support providers? I mean, I've been having similar experience with other projects, but I think there's, on the one hand side, a gray area with advertising here that might be critical, and as mentioned. On the other hand side, I think it's the question whether there are generic support providers out there that offer commercial support for any kind of build of Rook and maybe Ceph, or like I read had just support for people who purchase their own product as a subscription also. So the question is, are we aiming for listing very generic support providers who will support any users of Rook, whatever build or product they use, or including such offers that include product subscriptions?
Yeah,
That's
good question,
something that-
Michael. And I think this is broader than just support. So I pulled up, I think this is on my shared screen, right? Yeah. The CNCF like website guidelines. I've seen this page a couple times and I thought of it right away. That, you know, in general, their guidance is that, you know, like you don't have like, you know, like a lead interest form, you know, of like, hey, give us your details and we'll pass that to the commercial folks. It's more, it's like, yes, you can have a page that has not only support, but also like commercial partners and products and stuff like that. So a page to generate it. So, hey, these are commercial distributions or support people or whatever. It doesn't have to be just strictly support, but it does, you know, a page dedicated to that type of thing is totally acceptable and you know, approved by the CNCF and makes plenty of sense.
Yeah, and Jared, by the way, I fully agree with your previous statement that instead of having such information in footer, a separate page that is linked from the main page is the way to go in my mind.
Cool. Blaine, you had
It
something
makes
to add
it
here,
more
bud?
obvious. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I can't hear you, Blaine.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to this myself, but it might be worth checking in with Satoru to see if his company, I think it's Libozu, also wants to be on that list. I don't know if they have a like an as a service offering or if they have a like you deploy, we support model, but
Well, I'll just read the page here, Blaine, and I'll tell you right away.
sure. Yeah, I mean, that's the only other thing I can think of right now that that might be relevant.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep, good point. Good point. Yeah, so we
But there are
should
more
reach
than
out to him too
two.
and give him an opportunity also. But yeah,
Let me add that there's a point into the agenda there for that. Ask Satoru, right? Hey.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Alexander is working on that page. Something you're interested in doing? You've been our website
yeah, you're the
guy
webmaster.
kind of in the past.
I'm
Right.
doing a lot of front end stuff the last weeks, months. So I'll stumble upon the kingdom of HTML elements and CSS sorcery gladly.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
I'll
let's do
start
it.
my project as well.
Oh,
Yeah, basically along the line, like this notice on the Samba project website here, I think is the perfect example. It's basically like, well, you need help, you want to be added to the page, open a PR, add yourself. But also more or less as we had it like this discoverability.
all right. Sounds good. So this note on daylight savings, I don't know when exactly it is, but if
Yeah.
the next meeting is canceled anyways,
that's
perhaps
true.
we won't have that weird overlap where EU and NA are different for a week.
Yeah, because US changes next week. When does it change in the EU? I guess it won't affect us here though.
It's typically 1 week off. I don't know if you have 1 week later or 1 week earlier.
I feel like in the spring it's 2 weeks off.
Oh, is it?
Anyway.
Yeah, I think in one season it's 2 weeks apart. The other season it's like 1 week, I guess. So this time it might be 2 weeks. Could be. I always have to look it up. I can
Nice if it was
remember.
synchronized like it used to be. Or
How
US
can
changed
people
a
make
few years
things
ago.
so hard?
Looks like we don't
Right.
start here in Europe until the 31st, at the end of the month. That seems.
Like
And
3 weeks off.
North
Wow.
America, or not all of them. United States is next week, Travis?
This Sunday, yeah.
Oh, that seems way further apart than I recall ever.
Right.
Eh. Okay,
And
well,
I
either way, I
think-
don't think we're meeting until after. Oh, no, wait, maybe? No, we won't. It'll be in April, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think India doesn't observe daylight savings like changes, correct?
Yeah, I guess
Correct.
that's correct.
Okay.
A sane system.
So this
Right.
meeting will appear
It
earlier
is.
for them for the next few months.
Cool. Okay, and then KubeCon 2 weeks, and that is the reason we're not meeting next time together. So yeah, last chance to sync in this group here on KubeCon. Blaine, you had a note here.
Yeah, I mean, that's mostly just for Travis, who sent me some stickers in a manila envelope that still hasn't arrived. So if you
Okay.
want to send another
send the
batch of
others.
them, yeah, send them with like a number 2 on the envelope, just so I know like which one I'm receiving when it
Oh,
comes.
sure.
Because
Yeah.
I've had it happen before that mail will show up like months later unexpectedly. So there's really no telling what might happen.
Mhm. Well, good thing I didn't send you all of them in the first batch, so now I can send the second batch.
Yeah, I agree.
And then if they don't show up, that would be probably useful to reach out to the CNCF, like the event staff, because they always have a bunch of stickers of all the projects that go on the wall there, and like I'm sure if like we can't get the supply that we had, that they'll give us some for the booth that we can at least have.
Yeah,
We don't give away too many in the booth anyway.
yeah. I think the like only sad thing is like we have CEF stickers that the CNCF doesn't have, but otherwise, I think we've stolen stickers from the CNCF box before, and it's been fine.
Yeah, they all go to the same intended audience.
Right.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Anything else about KubeCon though? Anything else to be aware of or note? Cool. All right, as we said at the beginning of the meeting, it'll be good to see everybody there. So definitely looking forward to catching up with you guys.
Yeah, same.
All right. So cool. So designs of interest. There's 3 of them here to talk through. Take it away, Blaine, I guess.
Yeah, this has been a topic that I've like kind of talked with Travis about on and off for a little while. There are several like small issues that Rook has that I think might be resolved by kind of switching up our operator pattern to effectively, like, we continue to have the Rook Ceph operator, but we treat that as the like global entire Kubernetes scope operator, where it runs the CSI driver, the cozy driver, and its biggest main job is to spin up a sub operator for each Ceph cluster. And the kind of issues that this would solve are like logging. So our logging framework doesn't capture the name and namespace of the resource that we're logging. And in PRs, this is like constantly an issue that I'm flagging. Is I'm like, we have to log the namespace and the name of the resource, because in any clusters where users are running multiple Ceph clusters, then it could be ambiguous what resource is actually in question. And I've looked into what it would take to change our logging infrastructure, and it's a lot. I think it would be more work than actually implementing this change just to change our logging framework. But if we had an operator per Ceph cluster, generally speaking, then it doesn't matter. Like the resource is only just the resource in that namespace. There are version mismatch errors that happen with Red Gateway admin, and basically Red Gateway admin developers just say we don't promise forward compatibility, but that's what we need, because the version of the Ceph image that we use as the Rook base, we try to always use the latest, which is going to be backwards compatible, but there's always like a 2-day period or something where Ceph will release, and then it takes Rook, like a PR, it takes like a day or 2 to actually consume that new image. And I think there's been 1 or 2 instances where we couldn't actually use that new image because there was some sort of Ceph bug. And then there's also like this is not really a problem. We found good ways of working around this. But the Rook operator has never been on the same network as the Ceph cluster. And so this is especially like a bigger thing for like Multis, where if we actually spawned this like sub operator on the same network, then we wouldn't have to like pass commands through a like manager sidecar. We could get rid of that. We could also get rid of the Ceph version detection jobs, which are like, they work just fine, but they're kind of hacky. So there's just like some kind of cleanup things that we could do by doing this. This is not like we have to do this. Nothing is required. Oh, there is one actually bigger issue that I missed when I was reading through this. So we had an issue where someone was complaining that the OSD wait loop, basically that waits on OSDs to update, can starve other Ceph clusters from reconciling. And the workaround for this is just to restart the operator. Like it's not it's not a big workaround or a bad workaround for users. But that is also something where we're kind of between two things that are hard to balance against, where if we just exit that wait loop when we're waiting on OSDs, then we end up doing a ton more API calls the next time we enter the reconcile. But by doing that, then we're like, by trying to avoid those, then we're starting reconciles. But if we're just doing per cluster operators, then we don't really have to worry about the starvation issue. And there may also be other small issues or like cleanup things we could do related to this. So if anyone thinks of anything, let me know. Basically just information collecting right now and proposing a big picture.
Yeah, definitely a lot of benefits for multi-cluster deployments. Thanks.
So I have a question like Blaine on to that part. So is sub operator mean like the main operator will still be there and will the sub operator will be installed according to the Ceph cluster count, or it is that there won't be a main operator, it would be just the sub operator and that would increase with count of the Ceph cluster.
Yeah, the intent is that there would be one main operator. So effectively the pattern we have now is that usually there's one main operator, but this main operator would spawn a like helper operator for every Ceph cluster that gets created. So users wouldn't have to do anything extra. The main operator would spawn the sub operator automatically. And like, I don't know what to call it other than the sub operator. It's more of like a helper, or like, we could also like kind of envision it as a job that just is always running.
I see. So for the first case, like where we have the problem for like reconciling for the first Ceph cluster, and then if it was successful, then only going to the second reconcile. So if we have like one operator managing the two sub operators or two sub jobs, so that we should do in a sequential way, because if we do in the sequential way, then I guess it would be the same problem what we have. But if we do in parallel way, I guess we should do in that way. So what's the consideration for that?
Well, the consideration there is that the sub operators are the ones reconciling. Like a sub operator is a one-to-one operator for a Ceph cluster. And so each Ceph cluster has its own operator and doesn't have to bother with any contention with other Ceph cluster resources. And that would get rid of like any starvation issues.
I see. I guess that makes sense. And the main operator would be reconciling the sub operators, right?
Yeah, effectively its jobs are to create sub operators and to run the CSI and cozy drivers. And potentially it would run the OBC driver. That's still an open question, but not like a critical one to answer right now.
And the main operator job won't be like to manage the sub operators. It's just like to create the sub operators, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would manage the sub operators in some contexts, but it would update them when needed. But those updates are only needed when the Ceph version changes or when networking changes. Otherwise, the sub operators are just always running.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for the clarification. Yeah.
Related to that, Blaine, maybe it's a stupid question. Are you planning to have separate namespaces for every Ceph cluster, or all of them will be running in the same namespace?
Well, yeah, so the way that Rook works today, you can have one Ceph cluster per namespace. And so the Rook operator, usually the Rook operator and the first Ceph cluster run in the same namespace. That doesn't have to change with this PR. It's really just changing effectively how Rook is architecting and organizing the reconciles. It doesn't force anything different about namespacing what exists today.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
And additionally, I would say this is not at all a stupid question, Ridwan. I think it's an important thing to be decided before actually doing this. I agree that having one namespace and operator per cluster, basically per Ceph cluster to be managed, makes a lot of sense. You could basically have the name of the cluster resource match the namespace name or something, but that's a detail that we can discuss later.
Yeah, I was thinking in these terms, like if we can have a separate namespace for every cluster, it will be easier to manage resources, to do any kind of operation.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds good.
And that exists today, like I mentioned, like unless I'm mistaken, in which case please correct me, but I think we only allow one Ceph cluster per namespace. And because of how Rook is like historically designed, we actually identify Ceph clusters by their namespace, but other resources we identify by their name, and we should also include their namespace as well to prevent any like hash collisions with just the name.
Mhm. Okay.
All right, ready to look at the second design here then?
Yeah. For these other two, I just wanted to mention them, and we're going long, so I don't want to go too much into the design. But the first one, I think, is an interesting one to get feedback on before we close on the design. But when we're wanting to clean up resources, so we've got this pattern if you're deleting the whole cluster, but if you're just wanting to delete like a single file system or block people, for example, we just block as long as there are backing Ceph resources, and we force the user to go clean those up kind of manually before we'll remove the finalizer. But so this proposal is, well, if you delete the CR and if you add an annotation which says force deletion of all the Ceph resources, then the operator can go say, okay, fine, you want to force delete this, I'll go do it. And I think it's a pattern that makes sense for when any of our CRs that are blocking based on the existence of Ceph resources. This will just simplify users' abilities to force clean up things when they want to. And an annotation is something I feel more comfortable with too than a cluster or a CRD setting, because a CRD setting is in a schema, maybe somebody would accidentally set it, but with an annotation, it's a very explicit thing that they have to set. There's no schema for it. You just have to know it. And anyway, so that's kind of the overview of that proposal. So if there's any feedback, yeah, I know there's been a few comments on the issue just since yesterday, since I opened it. So we'll continue that discussion there. And then the other one, so on Friday, I just opened this PR. I'm super excited about it because it's been a feature so long in coming. This is creating the ability to create multiple object stores based on shared Ceph pools. Because the issue today is you get, for every object store, you get like 6 new pools, 5 of which are metadata pools. And then the PG counts just keep going up and up with each object store. So now you only need 3 basic pools, and you can add as many object stores as you want. They each have their own endpoints. They're all it's multi-tenant because each store uses its own Rados namespaces inside those pools. And anyway, I'm really encouraged and excited about this whole feature. And after we're sure it's stable, maybe in the next release, it would even become the default behavior. But anyway, that it's in need of review. I don't think I've seen any comments on it yet, and I still have a couple more work items to test and finish that off. But yeah, excited about that feature for our next release.
Yeah, nice, awesome. And is this is the issue on the 1.14 project board, Travis?
I mean, it should be. It's in the roadmap doc.
Okay.
Is it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay. The issue is, I was looking at the PR, and the issue that it is fixing is in 1.14 in progress. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. So that's all for that. Unless there's any comments or questions.
All right. Well, cool. We managed to mostly fill the time today. So yeah, thanks for everybody for joining in today. Then yeah, so we will not meet next time, but those of us that are fortunate enough to be in Paris, we will see each other there. And then we'll be working towards the 1.14. I think we'll probably meet before the release itself, but yeah, getting the release branch cut and the beta release out by the end of the month. Cool. All right,
Sounds
great
good.
to see everybody
Thanks, everyone.
today. See y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a good
See
day.
ya.
See you. Have a
Yeah.
good one. Bye bye.
Goodbye.